Have you ever been scammed on Hypixel Skyblock? Well, according to this poll that I did earlier today, 62% of people have been scammed. In my opinion, that is a ridiculously high number. Now, I've talked about scams before, but it's kind of hard to demonstrate unless somebody actually records being scammed, or scamming themselves. Well, today we're going to be talking about and taking a look at the person who has scammed supposedly 50 billion coins. And because of how they did it, we can actually have a look at it. At the same time, we can raise awareness for this scam, so hopefully nobody falls for it ever again. The scammer that we're going to be taking a look at is a player that goes by the name of Lol. And this is the story of how they scammed 50 billion coins. The funny thing is this scam, what I'm going to talk about, I've actually gone over in a couple of videos in the past on how to avoid being scammed. Imagine if you just would have watched that one Nitros video. Anyway, before we get into it, make sure to use code Nitros if you are planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store. It gets yourself 5% off. Also, you should subscribe to the channel, it would help out a lot. And finally, you should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of this video. Here's how the scam went down. First of all, he would target players with a really high purse. I'm pretty sure depending on the mod that you can use, you can either right click on the player or it will literally just show the purse next to the name, or there is a mod of basically the purse being visible. Or you could just go on Skycrypt or something. It also usually, I guess, probably helps if the player was a relatively low Skyblock level because, well, I mean, in theory, I guess lower level players are more likely to fall for scams considering they're not experienced in the game. He would then basically tell them that he's going to list some items on the AH for well below lowest bin. He would then tell a player to do /AH and, for instance, his name. I don't have any auctions up, but obviously then that brings up your auctions. He would then take an item, for instance, an aspect of the void, and he would say, oh, I'm going to list 5 aspects of the voids for 2 million coins. And then depending on that person's actual purse, he would list 4 for 2 million coins, and then 1 for 200 million coins, or 2 billion coins depending on the purse. The idea is that the player will then just buy all the auctions on their auction house without properly checking the price, as they see that basically the first couple of ones were way below market value. Now of course that means that he will lose coins on those items that he sold for well below market value. However, that one item that he did sell for a ridiculously high price to the person that he targeted, he then basically scammed a ton of coins. So if anybody comes to you and tries to pull this scam, then what you should really do is be very, very careful of which items listed for very high and just buy up all the cheap items. That way he's kind of got egg on his face, and if you don't buy those items, nobody's going to go onto the AH and buy an aspect of the void for 200 million if it's completely plain, because why would you? It would only work if they basically tried to pull this scam. To be safe, you could just ignore them too. Now, this scam is different to others because most scams are conducted through trade menus and sort of like trust scams where they build up trust with the other person and eventually they're basically able to lend their items and never give them back. Corp scams, they're a lot harder to track. Of course, because this scam is conducted through the auction house, we can see everybody's auction house history, so we can actually go ahead and take a look at how this worked. So this is the scammer's IGN. Like I said before, Lol. I think by the looks of it and from what I've been told, I think he's been wiped at this point, which makes sense. And there are some relatively recent auctions that aren't really suspicious at all. However, if we just go back a few months, so this is May of this year, as you can see, he listed 4 god potions for 500k each. God potions go for about 1 million coins. Maybe just a bit more, but not 500k, that's ridiculously underpriced. As you can see here, he listed one for 500 million. It didn't sell, so it didn't work, but that's not the case the whole time. You can see he tried it again here. He's listed 5 god potions, 4 for 300k and 1 for 300 mil, and of course this time it actually worked. The 1 for 300 million coins also sold, as well as the 4 for 300k. Again here with a livid dagger, listed 4 for 1 million coins and scammed someone for 1 billion coins right here. That is ridiculous. Tried it again here with god potions, 150k and 150 mil. That time it didn't work. Tried it again here with livid daggers, failed twice with the 1 billion coins, lost a ton of coins, failed again with god potions, tried to list one for 300 mil and the rest for 300k didn't work, and the same here, 700k and 700 mil. Yeah, but then again he got a win here with selling it for 100 million coins and rest listed other ones for 100k. So it obviously works, just not all the time. It's just, I don't know, I kind of understand why people fall for it, because they're just trying desperately to buy up these items for cheaper. Once again here, it didn't work for 200 mil. Has it worked here? No, failed again for 500 mil. This time it worked for 250 mil, which is ridiculous. This one failed for 1.2 billion. Of course, he's changing the price dependent on the person's purse, because he can see the purse. So of course, if a person only has 150 mil purse, he's not going to try it for 200 mil, because even if they do try to buy it, they're not going to be able to. But he's failed here for 800 mil, he's failed here for 250 mil, failed here for 500 mil, failed here for 600 mil. There's quite a lot of fails here. Obviously people realised. But once again here, he scammed someone for 150 mil. He scammed someone here for Remnants of the Eye for 150k. Okay, interesting. Right here, he scammed someone for 1 billion coins for an Aspect of the Void. Yikes. Again here for a Livid Dagger for 1 billion. Another one here, Godpot for 400 million. Another Godpot for 150 mil. Another Godpot for 150 mil. Another Godpot for 400 mil. An Aspect of the Dragons for 250 mil. A Godpot for 250 mil. I think this is the biggest one I've seen so far. A Livid Dagger for 1.5 billion. Imagine buying this and then realising what you've done. Yeah. But it just keeps going and going and going, and he doesn't succeed every time. But this is over the period of like 2 months so far. Got another success here for him for 150 mil. Here's a Livid Dagger for 750 mil. And another Godpot for 250 mil. Here's one for 150 mil. Oh, just a small one. A mere 75 mil for a Godpot. It just confuses me how, like, he kept his account and kept it under wraps for so long. Like, we're going back 2.5 months of basically constant attempting this scam. And yeah, maybe Hypixel don't ban people for doing this because, well, here's another one for 100 mil. Maybe because it's just too difficult and too hard to sort of govern, which I understand. It would take a lot of work and a lot of people, and obviously they have to pay those people. But at the same time, surely word of mouth, the amount of people that got like basically fell for this scam is just ridiculous. Surely, like, I don't know. I just think it's kind of crazy how, even if he has been wiped now, we don't know why he's been wiped. But like another one for 100 mil, how he even kept this going for so long is just, I don't even know what to say. And you get the point. This just goes on and on and on and on. It's mostly Godpots and Livid Daggers. Honestly, at first I was a little bit unsure as to if his claim for a 50 billion scam was actually real. But we're now into January of this year, and it looks like for probably a good 3 to 4 months, constantly he was literally on with this scam. And whether he scammed 50 billion on just on this profile, I really don't know, considering... Let's take his profile now. Well, one profile has 25 coin net worth, another one has 63, and this one here has 31 mil. And it's definitely the right profile considering he's had this name for the last 1.2 years. So whether he got wiped for scamming or something else, or maybe he just always had a pretty low level profile and just had a ton of coins, I really have no idea. But from what I've heard, I think he has been wiped. Like I said, I don't know if that's actually because of scams or not. All I would say though is for anyone who maybe encounters this in the future, if somebody really was going to sell Livid Daggers for 1 million coins, they clearly don't care about the coins and they would just simply give you items. Why list them on the AH for 1 million instead of 7 million? It makes no sense. That really is a situation where it's too good to be true and you should just run. Now initially I thought, well, maybe he just targeted early game players. That would make sense. They're probably more gullible, less aware of basically what's going on and more likely to not realise what is going on and actually get scammed. However, there was one there where he sold a Livid Dagger for 1.5 billion. And early game players aren't going to have 1.5 billion. So maybe I was wrong about that. Maybe he just tries anyone with a high purse. Or tried, should I say. I don't know. I mean, on that profile, definitely doesn't look to be like scamming anymore. But yeah, that just about wraps up today's video. That is how that person scammed 50 billion coins. Yeah, crazy. Like I said, I don't know if it was 50 billion coins all on that one profile, but that is the figure that he said. Let me know in the comments if anybody has ever tried this before to you, or whether you've seen somebody saying something like this in chat, whereas they're selling items for cheap, basically, on their AH. Anyway, this will just about wrap up today's video. I hope you all have enjoyed. If you have, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.